I'm ready.
Awesome. Mara, so first of all, I would like to talk about Memphis for a bit because it's a city that we both love. And I came here last year. You've been here your entire life, then you went abroad, you lived somewhere else. But I feel like Memphis for me, I mean, you have a different association with it, I feel. But to me, it always reminds me of Detroit. I feel like, especially here in downtown, there are so many like abandoned buildings and stuff. So it feels like pretty raw in
Yeah.
general, the city, but at the same time, there's so much, I feel like art, community. The people are beautiful. They invest so much like creative energy into this space.
Oh my,
D-
yeah.
Do you agree? Like, how do you feel?
Oh yeah. Well, I always say Memphis has just soul running through the Mississippi, throughout the city. It is such a beautiful place, and I think that is what has always drawn me to it. Obviously, I was born here, but there is such culture and there's just such a feeling. I feel like cities have such feelings to them, and Memphis has such a feeling. And I think everybody here has this shared knowledge of that feeling. And that's why the communities come out to keep creating it, because obviously there's a lot of history here, a lot of beautiful and not so beautiful history. But I think we want to carry on that beauty with it because we're really passionate, and it does just the energy runs through the city. So I think that there are a lot of people that are trying to continue that and bring it to life and just kind of manifest that feeling.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I have chills, literally. I
And
went,
then-
yeah, to like a leadership summit last week, at the Peabody, and the mayor was talking about we should focus on what makes Memphis strong and not what is wrong or something like that. Like it was an entire like quote because there are some like bad sides, but I feel like there are so many people who really like built and rebuilt, and there's so much like creative energy flowing through it. And I feel like you're such a big part of it. I told you I stalked you for like a year, and now you pop up like everywhere, like in my newsletter, on Instagram, in magazines and everything. And I feel like you're a leader too. I don't know if you see yourself as a leader, but I feel you are a leader. And I talk a lot with like people from the city council or like diplomatic liaison, you know, and that's obviously these people, they have like more traditional leader roles, I would say.
Mhm.
But the way you are leading, I feel is so different and so vibrant and colorful. And how would you describe, I don't even know if you see yourself as a leader. I don't know. You can tell me how you would describe yourself, like the way you kind of like shape the city or move through the city or create in the city.
Yeah. So I think I've always lived my life in a way to try to find the joy in everything. Life is brutal at times. I think everyone as a universe right now can agree that times are hard and there's not a lot to be outwardly joyful about, but really there is. So there are things that you can find joy in that every single day. And I think I really made it I truly believe that. And I feel like I've been given a gift where I am just very happy and see the beauty in everything. And so I think that I kept it to myself for a while, but I was like, no, I think it's my purpose in life to share that. And so while I don't think of myself as like a leader, I would like to be someone that might inspire people to do the same. Because I do get a lot of messages where people are like, I just never saw the city in this way until you showed me. And I actually started going out, and that kind of stuff is so special. So I think, yeah, just kind of romanticizing life. It's not a crime during really hard times. And I think it's not saying ignorant or turning a blind eye to the disparities of the city or the world and the state of that. But in spite of those things, continuing to live and bring joy, because I really do think that happiness and just being a good person is what we lack a lot of. And I think that's why we're in a lot of these bad situations. It's because people have become selfish or maybe a little bit dark in like their thoughts and how they want to treat people. And I think that joy, happiness, community, and yeah, just being kind to others is such a way to be able to do that. So I don't think I have the answers to like lead people to, how we're going to get past again, like all the disparities of the city. But I do want to be a leader and like, yes, this is happening. Yes, we can be aware, but we can also be simultaneously joyful and happy and enjoy our lives throughout that.
Yes. I feel like you're so like colorful in doing that. You always share your clothing, like it's very bright, it's very vibrant, and I feel this. I don't know if you can tell me if you see it that way, but I always feel like if we're so like playful, that also has to do with like vulnerability, and that is like naked in a way. And I'm curious to hear if that is something that you think about. Does it scare you? Does vulnerability scare you, or is that just like who you are and that's fine?
Yeah, I think in terms of sense of style and how I present myself, it doesn't. I've always been that way. I'm really lucky to have parents that really were like, you find who you are, we'll support you. However, I had super supportive parents. So, really, like, this sounds crazy, but I've always kind of dressed this way, and my parents have always supported it. So, I've always had that empowerment to go along with it. And I think it just carried through. It is so funny because, like, I went to Berlin. One of my best
I'm from
friends lived.
Berlin.
Are you really? I love
Yeah.
Berlin.
Oh my god.
I've been 4 times. I love it. But I went to Berlin and, everyone does wear their black. And I was dressed like how I am, and everyone was like, "Wow," And I think you could feel, like, shy or be like, "I'm in Berlin, like, I need to kind of fit the mold." But I don't think so. I always think and obviously, like, I think that you always need to be yourself because I find in the world, you won't meet your people unless you present yourself as you are. So I, am always like, you don't want to miss out because you are hiding who you are from who you're going to meet because you can really only meet your kindred spirits if you are presenting as your full self. So it's just something that through life, and there have been times when it's harder. I lived 3 years in this tiny, tiny village in Italy, and showing up in my outfits, like, I was scaring those nonas. They were like, "Who's this crazy girl?" But you just but then you find your best friends and, you start talking to people, and I think it's such a missed opportunity to not show up as your full self, and so it never felt like vulnerability to me. It almost felt like a duty to myself.
Mm,
And again, I think it goes hand in hand and ties in with that happiness of if I'm hiding, I can't truly be happy, I don't think.
mhm, mhm.
So it's so much easier when you're like, "This is gonna make me happy," so you just do it.
That is, like, beautiful to see it as, like, your duty, and you're doing, like, a disservice almost if you don't shine, right, in a way?
Sure, to your life and how you wanna live your life. The
Mm,
people you again, community is, like, something that I live for, I think, and you can't really find it if you're always hiding.
mm, mm. I think it's interesting because like I have been like shamed for like my playfulness, by men, for example. And that
Yep.
is something that a lot of women when they show their like I don't know, I don't want to call it like feminine. I don't like the whole female masculine like conversation. It's more some like an energy. You're
Mhm.
in more yin or you're in more yang in a way. And I feel like women that, are brave enough to show their yin I don't know, they're sometimes afraid that they get, like, shamed for it. You know what I mean?
Then
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Is that, like, what is there s can you, like, speak on that? It doesn't seem like you have experienced that, but playfulness is not safe for a lot of people, you know?
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, to be honest, it's been the exact opposite, like my dating life has been so beautiful, I think, because when you show up authentically, like, yeah, it's not that every single man is gonna be chasing after me, but it's like the right men do. So I've been really, really lucky. And it's funny because, like, I've been in love a couple of times, and each time I met those people, I was showing up authentically as myself. When people were like, "Whoa, can't believe you're wearing that outfit to this event," but then you meet someone and then you can continue showing up as yourself. because when you met them, that's how you looked. So there's no, you're not hiding anything. It's not like you were wearing something that didn't really feel like you. Then they're going to be surprised when you're actually being your authentic self.
Mhm.
So I think playfulness and showing that, like, yeah, you might not be everybody's cup of tea, but it's not that you want everybody either. So, I think being playful, you're going to get the right type of person who's going to complement that and really accept it.
Mm.
Really lucky, I think, when it comes to dating and like finding these really great guys who just compliment me and are exactly who I want to be spending my time with. It didn't always work out, but it was fun while it lasted. I can be kind of picky, but
And that's a good thing, right? That is a good thing. Yeah. Yes, and you seem to like magnetize. Like the theme of the episode is be the invitation, because I feel like that is what you embody, you know. It seems like, I don't know, we just met today, you know, but by just
and I
like
love you
observing.
already, Jenny.
I know. But like just by like observing you, I feel like you have such a talent to magnetize like opportunities. And like one aspect is being yourself. That's what you said. But is there like another, I don't want to say recipe, it sounds so like strict, but are there other like elements where you feel like, yeah, that is what I, put in the pot as well. And that's why I magnetize and I attract all these opportunities.
Yeah, I think so. I actually have thought a lot about this because I feel really, really blessed in my life. And it's one of those, like, I definitely believe in manifestation and saying the things that you want. I believe, so we've already talked about like showing up authentically as yourself, but I also really, really strongly believe in energy and kind of like big magic in a way that the more you say yes to the things that are meant for you, the more things will come. Because energy wants to be in movement, it doesn't want to be still. So, the more I think with everything, with creativity, with opportunity, with community, with everything, the more every time you get like that gut feeling and you just say yes because you know how to decipher that and you've been saying yes and you've been saying no when you're meant to, it's going to come more often. So I just believe that everything in life, like energy in life, comes to you because when you are there to realize it, it wants to be there because everything wants attention. I don't think that's just a human thing. So kind of whatever you believe in, whether that's prayer, whether that's manifestation, whether that's meditation, everything wants to be realized. And I think if you're a person that continues to say yes and no to the things that are and are not meant for you, it's going to keep coming back. So you'll keep getting those blessings of, I'm kind of a good vessel for this energy. I do say yes, and I always do it with kindness in mind, with other people's best interests and also my own. And it kind of manifests itself into like different opportunities because I do feel like I have been very, very blessed, but I think it's because I say yes to a lot of scary things as well.
Mhm.
And so then it leads to other opportunities coming up, and I think it stabilizes itself a little bit.
Mhm. Mhm. For sure. Like,
If
would
that makes sense. I don't know. That's kind of a difficult concept to
it
just try to
perfect
give a little.
sense. It makes perfect sense. Yeah. Yeah. Um, would you say like traveling had a part in that as well? Because I always feel like when I travel, it broadens my horizon. I feel like I'm so proud of myself. It strengthens my confidence and like all of these things. It influences my art, my leadership. And you travel so much too. Would you say that had like that influenced your way of being as well?
Oh my goodness, 100%. I think it's so important to just open your mind because you can think you're open-minded and then you go somewhere where people are speaking a different language, living in a completely different culture, and you're like, "Oh no," like you open your mind even more in that way. I think traveling was the reason why I am the way I am. I don't think that I would be the same. I kind of always had that itch since I was little. My dad's first generation American. He immigrated from Italy. And so we kind of always were blessed with that opportunity to be able to expand. But yeah, I do definitely think that travel And travel, to be honest, is the first thing that like that big hard yes. I remember I was graduating high school, getting ready to figure out my next step. And I basically had a dream that I needed to go to London. And again, this is where like my parents are so supportive. I was like, yeah, I think I need to go to London. And they were like, okay. So, just went to London and again, just like saying yes to those opportunities. And that completely changed my whole world. I think, again, because while I'm such a supporter of Memphis, I think being here and only here can be a little bit tough on like opening your mind. There's very kind of strict views and just culturally, like it's very kind of one way, I would say, at least growing up, it felt like that. And so I needed to expand. And I think that helped me feel even more empowered and like that, I guess, like as we were saying, like that vulnerability and learning how to not feel so vulnerable to just be yourself and be authentic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it also feels like you're very good with like relationships, building connection, finding the right people, maybe, you're in like
Yep.
this magazine, you're writing for the blog, all these people invite you to come to these cities and, you do your content and everything. So you're very good at making friends, making connections, business connections. What would you say is important for you in that sense?
I think listening to people is such a big connection builder. I think too many times people are so eager to be like, me, listen to all this stuff. But I think to really build connection, it starts with like the other person and learning about them and really just being a person and even a leader that makes people feel seen and heard. And I think that's the whole thing, even with Mara and Memphis. It's people who love the city are feeling heard and like, okay, yeah, we're not the most violent city in America. And we're not, we're more than that. We're not just XYZ. I think leadership is so much about putting yourself aside, which I think people don't really think about, but it's putting yourself aside and really showing up and just listening to people.
Mhm. Mhm. I also feel you bring like it's almost like a new fragrance to Memphis. That's
Oh,
how I feel.
I love fragrances. So that was just best metaphor you could have used.
Yeah, because we have this idea about well, people have this idea about Memphis very often, and then there's this, it's Mara in Memphis, and she has this like you leave this, I don't know, yeah, there's like a different kind of atmosphere, smell, vibe in the room, So yeah, I feel like that is what your leadership is to me. You add,
Oh,
it's yeah, just a different. I don't. Yeah, I guess fragrance is the best word. Yeah.
that was, I think, probably one of the nicest compliments anyone's ever given me. That's so nice. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Would you say, because we talked about like leading in a very authentic way, being rooted in like authenticity, and you say like your parents were very supportive and your dating life was great. Was there a time in your life where you also were, a little bit shaky and where you felt like you hid part of your truth or parts of yourself?
I think parts of myself, no. I've been really lucky with that, but I think there have definitely been times I'm like, do I need to reevaluate?
Mm.
Because nothing's working out. And I'm just kind of one of those, like, if everything seems to be going wrong, I'm like, the common denominator here is me. So what am I doing wrong and what do I need to change? So I don't think it's where I necessarily felt like I wasn't showing up, but sometimes it almost was like I felt like I needed to show up less or in a different way. And that's always been super, super hard. I think someone who kind of prides themselves on like showing up as their authentic self, when it's time to change or you feel like you're messing things up, people are getting a little bit upset with you, things in life aren't going great. When it's time to like take a hard look at yourself and be like, okay, I need to make some changes. That's always tough because it's like growing pains. So I would say that's kind of those moments when I felt like, okay, maybe I need to reevaluate. It's part of getting older, growing, maturing, going through life with others, developing, kind of taking a look and being like, okay, what do I need to do different? Which is always really I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss, but crappy when you when you are already feeling down and like out of sorts. But yeah, so I think that would be kind of those times.
Mm, mm. And I work with women in the limelight, right? So they always have like eyes on them. And
Yeah.
I don't know, like your opinion, I would be very interested in your opinion. I feel like same with me, like with my content, when I feel down or when I feel I need to reevaluate, it is hard to like show up and show everything and show like the process that is going on behind the scenes and all of that, because sometimes it's so sacred, and you
Hmm.
kind of like protect your heart also, and like you need to figure it out yourself, and then you can come back out of that cocoon or that shell. And so how would you like, what's your recommendation, I guess, to like navigate things like these for women in the limelight?
Well, I think go easy on yourself because I think there's a reason that you're feeling that way and that you feel like there are changes that need to be made. And you can be very choosy about how public you are with it or how private you need to be. Because the most important thing, even if you are in the limelight, even if you have a very public job, the most important thing is like yourself and actually getting through that hard moment. So evaluating whether that is like acting through it. So whether you're like a content creator or a performer and you just have to like put on a brave face, but when you're home, you shut down and that's when you do the work. I think that's something that, I think it's just evaluating what it is that you truly need and being honest with yourself about that so that it doesn't come up later, that you can actually face the problem head on, however long that might take, and actually get through it emotionally, spiritually, mentally before you just kind of like mask it, keep going because you're a public persona or you're in the limelight.
Mm, mm. I think it's great that you're saying, be gentle with yourself. And I think also like honor the cycles, sometimes, yeah, just know what season you're in kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I went through, I've had actually a really, really tough year. And I don't think anyone would know because something for me was like when when I'm home, that's when I deal with it. But I'm going to continue saying yes to things. For me, that's what I needed. I'm going to continue to say yes to things, show up, be present when I'm there. And then, like, when I'm in my car, that's when I can, like, and that helps me heal so much and get past what was probably one of the worst periods of my life. And I don't think anyone would have known. You know what I mean? I don't think from the content anyone would have.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Because this woman is like, this is my new haircut. These are my new clothes. Here's the potluck. Let's have cocktails.
Exactly. Well, because I kept showing up because I was like, even if that just takes 1 hour out of my day, I can mope and I'm still I'll show up for that 1 hour. And to be honest, it really did heal me because it didn't allow me to just stay under the covers because that wouldn't have been good for my healing. It allowed me to still have fun and look forward to things and meet new people. But, I also but just because of the nature of my job as well, I could also go home and have that space to like reflect, but still have some good dopamines throughout the day, not just ice cream and being in my bed.
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, energy wants to be moved, right? So
Yeah,
you decide to show up even for that hour, you have like energy is moving and you're in a creative
exactly.
space. And yeah.
Yeah, when I could always be honest, I was open about what I was going through to people. So I'd be like, "Guys, like, this is happening. Just letting you know, but I'm really happy to be here with you." And so that they would know if I got quiet because it's not like I was gonna be on the whole time going through something really hard, but people understand. I think people are more empathetic than we give them credit for, and, like, if you say that, they're gonna be like, "Well, we're really happy that you showed up, but we understand that this is tough." So if we see you, like, just staring off into the distance, we'll know what that was about, so
Yeah, and also choosing to be in connection still. That is something I had to learn this year, that, I can just like call the person. Like even if I'm like down, my friends, they like understand, and you don't need to have this like stop and go all the time and like go into your cocoon. Like you can be connected still, even, you know.
Mhm. Which is so hard.
Yeah.
I think I find that harder than, like, showing up. I think this might be a weird way to phrase it, but, like, verbally showing up as myself is harder than, like, dressing up. Like, I find it really hard to talk about what I'm actually going through in real time.
Mm.
So, but you're so right. I think people do wanna hear and wanna be there for you, so
Yeah. And also to just like admit, I'm not 100% today. That's fine.
Yep,
No?
exactly. Sorry.
Yeah.
Love you, though. Yeah.
Amazing. Mara, what is your current mission, would you say, with Mara in Memphis, with all the things that you're doing here in Memphis and in other parts of, the country? What is your mission?
Yeah. So I think next I want to build a website for more in Memphis so that everything can kind of be in one place. Writing is one of my biggest passions in life. So I want to kind of have a space where I can do that in tandem with making the videos. And I think just keep growing it because, yeah, I think I just was not expecting it to go where it's gone. And I just absolutely love it. I love the opportunities that it has brought, just the places that I've gotten to go and like explore as well, the people that I've met, even things like this podcast. It's just so cool. So just to keep growing it, I think step by step and keep finding joy in it. So like doing things that make me happy. I think that's why like the website would be really great and just continuing.
Do you
So
have like
stay tuned 2026 for more on.com.
is there like, would you say, is there like a motto or something or like a slogan you have? Not an official one. I haven't seen anything, but something you live by for this, like regarding this brand?
So I think it kind of there's a connection. So there's a word in Italian. It's meraviglia. And I always would say maraviglia because again, like find the joy and wonder. Like meraviglia means wonder.
Mm.
So I think it's just finding that wonder and finding that joy in the everyday. You don't have to be spending a lot of money. You
Yeah.
don't have to make a lot of effort, but it's there to be had and it wants you to be there. And I think just showcasing that to people.
hmm hmm And what would you say to close out the conversation today? What would you like whisper or scream if you could, to every woman that wants to find that wonder or to feel a little bit more like vibrant, not thinking about like the everyday kind of like success, like being successful, focusing on all of these like milestones maybe, that they achieve
Yeah.
each day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think sit with yourself and really, really, really ask yourself what it is that you want. Be honest about that. Don't be scared about what might come up and follow what it is that you feel in your heart, in your soul, in your mind, in your body that the world is telling you to go do. Because I promise you, the success, the happiness, the joy will follow. But you just got to find that what is it that I truly want? Even though it might be scary, even though you might realize, okay, this job is not what I want to be doing. This city is not where I want to be. Those are scary things. That's really, really, really hard to get past and listen to yourself when you're in those situations. But I promise you, taking those big steps will always, always lead you closer to your authentic self. And there you will always find joy.